Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Scott Roy, author and sales expert. He's on a mission to transform sales for good. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you, KJ. I appreciate it very much. Great to be with you today.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Scott. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll understand how to master sales leadership. We'll understand all this in this backdrop. But before that, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that the audience learns better about who they are listening to.
Sure. Well, my selling career started when I was 20 years old in the United States, and I was recruited by a company to sell books door to door. And I did that for 5 summers while I was going to college, and I learned all the fundamentals, the basics of good salesmanship, standing on about 20,000 doorsteps across the United States and having that experience of having to think on your feet and keep your attitude right, and some days go great and some days don't go so great, and just having that experience for 5 summers was really the foundation for my work in sales from that point forward. So I went from there into sales management and built sales organizations, built sales teams that were anywhere from 10 all the way up to 150 people, and then did that for 11 years, and then got into the insurance business. Doing essentially the same thing in the United States, building a sales organization within a company as a national sales manager, and then went on to co-found, I should say, an insurance company that is now a nationwide insurance company in the United States. And so from there, went on to consulting and helping other organizations to make some really good decisions when it comes to how they recruit, train, manage, motivate, build sales organizations.
Absolutely, Scott. Absolutely. And now serve nearly 500 clients in more than 50 countries around the world over the last 15 years. So Let me understand. You want to transform, your mission is to transform sales.
Yes.
Why do you want to transform sales? Is there something wrong with the way sales is? Means I want to understand how do you want to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, most people, when they come to think about sales, they think sales is about convincing somebody to buy a product, and that's the fundamental flaw of how most people go about selling. Because really selling in its truest sense is helping people solve problems, whether they know they've got the problem or they don't know that they have the problem. My job as a salesperson is to engage somebody in a conversation to discover what kind of challenges they might have that are in relationship to the type of product that I'm selling. So the really great salespeople are great at helping people discover those needs and discover those problems well before they pull out the product and start pitching it, you see. And that's the real fundamental difference between the way most people sell, which is pitching a product, versus fantastic, outstanding salespeople who are great at finding a need and then filling that need.
Right. So I want to understand then, with so much of good background, of course, so many good people around in this whole industry, why is a sales call become such a bad word, especially from a customer's point of view? They don't like sales calls. They don't like salespeople. They don't like, salespeople knocking at their door. Perhaps only when you go to the store, you need some information, you ask for someone around. Even tell you don't like a salesperson because they push too much. Help us understand then, why is it such a bad state of affairs?
Well, it's really related to what we just talked about, is that if a salesperson's job is to convince somebody to buy, then that means that they're going to do whatever it takes to go ahead and persuade, pitch, arm twist, whatever it might be, in order to get somebody to do what I want them to do if I'm selling to them. And that's really the transformation here, is that if you really want people to adopt and buy what it is that you're selling, is that find out if they've got a need for what you've got first, you say, and that's what you've got to become great at, you see. And so a lot of the work that we do around the world, whether it's a really large multinational company, like big names like teaching them how to sell very complex products and things that go into the millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of U.S. dollars or rupees or whatever it may be. Or it's something as simple as selling somebody a mobile phone, or perhaps in the developing world, in the global South, we oftentimes are working with organizations that sell things like water filters or latrines, you say, and it doesn't matter what the product is, but my job is to do a great job at listening and learning and building trust with the client, because what they expect from a salesperson is a pitch, and so they're defensive with that, you say. But when I come and speak to somebody and I'm actually listening to them and finding out what's interesting to them, you say, then all of a sudden I have a very different angle and a very different imprint on that customer, you say. And so instantly I stand out differently from the rest of the crowd, that the salespeople who, kind of pitch and persuade and cajole and try to get money out of people's pockets, basically.
Right. So is it a problem with the salespeople or their managers or their leaders or their, marketing, sales head or the CEO, because they set unreasonable targets?
Yeah,
Where is the problem? Because you want
yeah.
to transform sales. How will you do it? Who is the culprit here?
Yeah. So, really, I think the transformation, if we were to boil it down very, very simply, is listening first rather than pitching first. Okay. So you're absolutely right. There's a whole ecosystem that's built around sales that you're trying to drive toward targets. You're trying to hit numbers that have been probably dreamt up by finance somewhere, came up with the numbers saying we need to hit this number this year. And so therefore what managers end up doing is they end up driving and pitching their salespeople on having to do certain things, sometimes even pressuring them or threatening them, in the worst sense. But I don't want to paint all salespeople and sales managers with one brush, because I think there are really outstanding sales managers and outstanding salespeople. But I think it's not because the system produces that. It's because there are individuals who stand up to the system that's there, that says, look, here's your target. Go out and sell, go out and hit the number. If you don't hit the number, then don't come back. That sort of ecosystem that is not very friendly toward clients or the people who are trying to interact with those clients. You see, on the other hand, if we're saying our company is really committed to helping people solve problems, whether they know what that problem is or not, and my job is to go out and find people like that. And if I actually find somebody who doesn't have the problem we have, or that problem isn't serious enough to really do something about it, to change, let's say, and buy a different product, then the best thing I can possibly do is walk away. And because I'm going to get a reputation, and that's the kind of reputation I want. I want people to know that I have their best interest at heart. So if you want to transform selling, you've got to transform the purpose of what your company is trying to do. And this by no means intimates that you're not going to hit massive targets. I mean, we built a massive insurance company. It's about a $4 billion company today. And we did it based on this principle of listening first. Of course we want to make sales. Of course we want to hit target. Of course we want to hit commission. But I want to do it in a way that really enrolls people and gets people, when I leave, they're happy. They want to see me again, right? Right? And you can do that. You can do all of this without having to apply pressure. Okay. Either in selling or in managing, for that matter.
Right. What happens to, people talk normally about sales, Scott. What about after sales? Is that the reason also for customer not wanting to see these salespeople? Or is it, because once they have got that product, once they have given the money, everything vanishes. You can't reach anyone. The salesperson you can reach, but then they will say, you need to talk to the customer service. So you meet the bots. You don't have any human interaction. And then you are just keep on dialing those numbers.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a very bad situation to be in. So
totally.
How, again, where does this whole good sales thing can get started? Do we
Sure.
rewire the minds of these people, or is it that they will be forced one day because, and the time has come when customers will not treat them well and they
Yeah.
will shoo them away from their doors?
Well, I think this is all about really what the topic today is: mastering sales leadership. And what we mean by that is sales starts with leadership. And that's the owner or the CEO or the board of directors, and the sort of purpose and tone that they set from the very, very top, because it all comes downhill into the organization and how it's set up and how people are compensated and how they're recognized and the kind of people you recruit and the kind of people you promote. All of this is all set by the leadership of the organization. And fundamentally, if you really want to transform an organization, you can do it from the top, but oftentimes it happens from the bottom. You see, it happens, in the bowels of the ship, so to speak. When you can prove that you can sell a different way. But what you're really speaking to here is that purposefulness of the organization. Why do they exist? Do they exist to sell one product one time and then get out of town, or do they exist to establish a client? Do they want a customer or do they want a client? You say a client is the type of person. If you look in the dictionary, the roots of client mean that the person who is buying from you is looking for some sort of guidance or protection. Okay, that's the old French definition of the word client. And so we oftentimes ask that question to our clients: is it, what is the difference between a customer and a client? And if you want customers, you're going to spend a lot of money and a lot of time acquiring new customers, which is the most expensive type of selling you can ever do. That's, the first customer is always the most expensive to acquire. So why would you do that when you can actually acquire one customer, and then because of the journey you take them on, beginning with how they're contacted and how they're sold to in a way that's ethical, that causes people to lean in, to want what you have, to want a solution, and therefore you provide that solution. And then the way that you describe the solution meets the expectations of ownership, so that when they're 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, owning the product or the service, they're happy, and if there is a problem, that there is a way to solve that problem, whether it's through AI or bots, or, there's lots of ways to solve problems. It doesn't always have to be the salesperson, but there needs to be a good expectation setting. And you see, that's all about customer journey and organizations thinking that out very, very clearly. Is it, do we want a customer or do we want a client? And everyone I've ever spoken to that we've done consulting work for, Whitman Roy Partnership, is basically we transform organizations oftentimes by looking at that one principle: is, do you have customers or clients? And a lot of times it catches the CEO off guard, or the co-founder off guard, and to get them to think more deeply about really what they want to create. And I almost always find people who say, I want to create clients. Of course I do. Okay, well, we can help you with that. Right? And so then you just, there's a few simple things to change, and then all of a sudden your company is aligned properly to move customers to clients.
Right, right. That's an ideal situation, almost like a utopia in today's time, because you see, the salesperson wants to change jobs, the sales manager wants to change jobs, the sales head wants to change jobs, and the CEO also wants to go to a bigger position. And the founder or co-founder, they want to sell their company. So only one is fully invested in be there in the long run, then only you look for this word called client and not just a pure customer. Not even a customer. You look at the person's wallet from where you can take out in this sort of a mindset,
Yeah. Well, I would say,
how do you want to succeed in these times? Because it's all about just, get the right valuation, move out, and let the customer go wherever they want to. And that is where there is no investment of that soul sort of a feeling there.
Well, that's true for some companies. That's true. I could look at our company, for example. We're 16 years old, and I have no interest in selling my company, and so there is a way that I approach my customers and the clients that I build. And, and again, it comes down to leadership. What does the leader want? Because you can build a company where your purpose is to go for fast valuation and get out of it quickly and sell out and go and make a mint. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what will happen in that situation a lot of times is shortcuts are taken around building the right kind of company culture, that doesn't have longevity at the heart of what they're doing, right? So if you want to build a great company culture, it's how you treat people. So for example, how you want your customer to be treated, the end customer who buys. Well, there's an alignment here of how do I want to treat the people who are actually selling to those customers? And how do I want to treat the people who are serving those customers in customer service or customer experience or customer journey? You see? And then how do I want to treat those managers who are treating my primary customers, meaning, the people who sell for me and the people who do customer service. Okay. So if that's aligned and it's aligned towards saying, hey, I really want to build great culture, great connection, trust, etc. I think that's a faster way to build a company actually that has more value than saying, I don't care about culture. I don't care about people. We'll churn through people left and right. Doesn't matter because I'm going to sell this in 5 years. Okay. You can do it that way if you want to. Boy, that's a bucking bronco I wouldn't want to ride. Okay. So what I want to ride is a kind of organization that I look at that I'm proud of having built that is built to last, that's it's built in a way that even if I'm not there, for whatever reason, if I sell out or I get hit by a bus, that that company is standing and is an example of my leadership as a person who cares about building something that matters. And I can't say what the attitude of each individual salesperson or sales manager is, but I tell you this is that as I've built sales organizations and I've built organizations for over, I'd say almost 40 years now that I've built organizations, is that I've always built ones where I'm looking at people and wanting to treat them fairly and to treat them and honor them as human beings and be honest with them and support them, you say. And, I think the record stands for itself or speaks for itself, including the, nearly 550 projects that we've executed over the last 16 years at Whitten and Roy Partnership, is that we bring that sort of thinking to clients. And if we run into a client who doesn't think that way, then we're not a good match for them, quite frankly. We're not just going to, kind of sell ourselves to somebody and say, look, we're going to help you sell more widgets just because you want to get out of this business. We're going to help you transform your business so that it produces in extremely high levels. And you have very high customer satisfaction. You have very low turnover of personnel, you say, and so which makes a very highly functional and very profitable organization.
Right, Scott. How do you look at this trend of robocalls? You see, in B2B, is still humans are interacting somewhere along in the system.
Yeah.
In B2C, it's very bad.
Yeah.
Robots are calling and they are disturbing people.
Yeah.
And people don't want them. They are blocking one number, second number, third number, till they start despising such companies.
So that's what happens in India too.
How do you see this trend? Do you think such things will bring transformation in sales?
No. I mean, the more we try to automate sales and make sales an impersonal experience, the bigger problem there is. I mean, I'm sure you've had this experience where you've had robocalls or on someone has written to you through LinkedIn and, saying, oh, I'm very impressed with Whitten and Roy Partnership's commitment to the Global South. It's like, okay, so your AI bot just scanned my website and that's what you figured out. The funniest one I got to tell you, KJ, is I had a letter that came in from a guy who was a sales consultant who was wanting to sell his services to me. I said, wait a minute, why would you be selling your sales consulting services to a sales consultant? So,
right.
And it's like, don't you know what you're doing? So I think that there are, these tools that can help us, like AI. I mean, we use AI in our business right now to help expedite certain, types of sort of processes that don't necessarily need to take me or one of my people to think through it. So it's a very helpful tool. Nonetheless, we still are very focused on the human to human connection. And so we teach, you know, what we do to build our business is what we teach other people to do. The way we sell to our clients is the way we teach our clients to sell, you say. And so, you know, it's very much a human-centered organization. It's very much not looking for shortcuts, but looking for ways to make sales land and sales land very firmly, right? I can't stand robocalls. I mean, my telephone, you know, will help me spot. It says scam calling, and I just put it right to voicemail. And you know, I think it's really a you know, a way of prospecting that actually is really quite annoying. And it gives sales a bad name. It gives sales a bad name. You're right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And legally you should be getting, you know, the top guys, who those robocalls bosses, you should get their numbers.
Yeah.
Legally it should be mandatory so that you can call them on robocall. And you know, and because everybody has something to sell. So if you are selling me through robocalls, I can employ the same robocalls, and then they will come to know how it feels like to get such calls in the midst of so many things that one does. But then that's another matter. There is much to learn from you, you know, for all these people who are resorting to this method, but it's not going to succeed in any way. As a customer, I can understand this one.
Sure.
So you have written 2 books, Scott. What can they learn from these 2 books? And also you have got your podcast, Sell Well, Do Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we have is we wrote 2 books. My business partner and I wrote one for the B2B sector, and the other one is for the B2C sector. Okay. And the 2 books, one is called Sell Well, Do Good. That is designed for that's this one. This designed for the DQ selling for social enterprises and for B2C. Okay. And then this one is called Decision Intelligence Selling, which is it's the short term for decision intelligence is DQ. Okay. DQ selling. And what it means is that we are committed to building the decision intelligence of a customer. Okay. And the way you go about that, it's a 4-step process, very simple, and it applies across every sales program we've ever designed. And it's something that people, once they learn how to do DQ, they can apply it to whatever they're selling. Both of these are available on Amazon or Apple Books. In India, actually, I think they're only 450 rupees or something like that. So, and that's the audio book, but you can get a soft cover and a hardcover as well. But the way these books are written, they're written in a narrative format. They're not written like a technical textbook. But what it does is it takes actual examples of people selling and applying our selling method and how to build trust, how to build confidence, how to listen carefully, how to manage attitude, all of the things that are really critical to the practitioner of sales. And I think any salesperson or sales leader or sales manager would appreciate learning it and reading it.
As I said, there is so much to learn from you.
Thank you.
About all these things from you, Scott. And also, you know, from your book, from your podcast, and also, you know, many may want to connect with you for your services through your company, WRP. So what is the process that you adopt? What is the best way for people to connect with you, to become your client?
Well, you can certainly go to our website and take a look around. We've got all kinds of resources on there. It's called WR Partnership, WRPartnership.com. Okay. And if you want to connect directly with us, you just write connect at WRPartnership.com. And we also have a really cool little tool called the Sales Diagnostic, which is a 25 question B2B and and we have one for B2C as well. For any sales leader who wants to diagnose their sales performance as an organization, if they want to find out, you know, kind of what's strong and what's weak in 5 key areas that we look at, then they can do that for free, and then they'll get a report back that's customized to their situation. 16-page report. No, you know, it's there's no obligation. It's free. And for those people who want to then get in touch with us and talk to us about their unique sales problem, we're happy to do that. And we'll have at least one conversation at no charge, and and probably several to get to the point of whether or not we should be working together. So. But as you pointed out, we work around the world. We've worked in India a number of times, and love your country, beautiful country. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. It's great to learn a lot of things from you, Scott. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks, KJ.